Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt man! All right! Episode 272 of Shirt Show! We're talking with Angel, the tour merch guy in New York. Let's go!
Hey guys, if you're new here, my name is Dylan. I am the owner of Upstate Merch and the host of the Shirt Show podcast. My guest host today was my good buddy Jared from AKT. Shout out to him. He has been helping out a ton with the show. I mean, he's just a great friend anyway. He is helping us out a lot with like website stuff and, you know, behind the scenes Shirt Show stuff. So just great dude, super helpful, super knowledgeable. His shop's amazing. Knows a lot about like tour merch and all this other stuff. So he was a great partner to have on this episode. Our guest today was Angel. He is a professional merch guy. He has worked from small clubs up to giant arena tours. Has been doing it for about 20 years. So he was a great guy to have on this episode and kind of get the behind the scenes of what it's like to sell merch at these places. But also for any of you printers who have dealt with dealing with printing for bands and, you know, getting stuff to these venues and whatnot, why things happen the way that they happen. So a lot of this episode was just kind of like, this is why this is, but also we went off the rails on a ton of different things. Super fun episode. We talked about everything. So it was really good. I hope you guys enjoy this one. If you do enjoy listening to the Shirt Show, the best thing you can do to help me and help everybody involved out is to share this episode on your socials, hit the like, the subscribe button. It would do amazing things for us. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. Take a second now, hit the like button. It takes no time at all for you to do. It's free. And I would appreciate it. That's awesome. Also, if you want to dive deeper into these episodes and get behind the scenes stuff, get tips, tricks, not just from me, from other industry professionals, all kinds of fun stuff. We have a newsletter now that comes out every week that I write personally. You can go to shirtshowofficial.com/newsletter, sign up, and there's links in Instagram and all the other stuff too. Check it out. It's pretty cool. This show would not be possible without our amazing partners. It all starts with a screen. Whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, greatfuckingscreens.com, or ffffrank.com. Cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way more funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals and equipment make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Right now is a great time to check them out because they have a new monthly giveaway where you have a chance to win $250 in product credit. Head over to easyway.com/giveaway to enter today. EasyWay, it's the easiest way. Graphics is your source for production-ready digital art and remote art staffing. They can help any size shop from just starting out to enterprise level. Looking to add a hero to your art department? Check them out at graphxsource.com. SNS is your premier partner in the apparel industry. With one website, one purchase order, and 14 distribution centers with over 100 beloved brands, you can streamline your ordering and hit free freight faster than ever. SNS has 1 to 2 day shipping with the lowest error rate in the industry. Be sure to order your blanks from ssactivewear.com. Today's episode is brought to you by American Apparel, makers of the iconic 2001. Soft, fitted, and always in style, this shirt has been the go-to for brands, bands, and print shops for decades. If you want a shirt people actually want to wear, start with the iconic 2001. For over 90 years, Stahls has been the leading choice among apparel decorators for their heat transfer materials, heat press equipment, and custom transfer services. Not only do they offer some of the best products, but they're always looking to innovate and educate in our industry on all things heat press. Head over to stahls.com to order your transfers and check them out on YouTube to be taught a thing or two. Ryonet has always been that solid go-to resource for screen printers. Not only are their supplies super reliable, but their network of education and support is next level. Whether you're figuring things out or fine-tuning your process, they've got your back. Check them out at screenprinting.com. I always want to talk about this in the episode, but if you need a community of like-minded printers and you want to kind of figure things out and have something to bounce off of somebody else that is supportive and not someone saying you're a dumb piece of shit for not knowing already, go to our Discord channel. It's free. You can download the app on your phone or you can have Discord on your desktop. It's got everything. It's got channels for all the different branches of our industry. There's the general chat where you can just ask things. It is a great community of people that are just looking to help each other out and uplift. So there's a lot of members in there. Go check it out. That is shirtshowofficial.com/Discord to sign up. or you can see it on our socials or on YouTube. There's a link there as well. If you guys enjoy this episode, thank you. I appreciate you. Hope you like it. Have a good one. How's things right now?
Pretty busy. Getting ready for a couple big tours for the end of the year. And we're always out of space. So we're like moving things to temporary storage so we have enough staging space, and stuff like that is really fun. We did a huge e-commerce thing for the Sleep Token album release, like record breaking stuff. So weirdly enough, like that was like a couple months ago. When it ended, it was like over 60,000 e-commerce orders that had to go out within like, a week and a half or 2 weeks. So that was really insane. And
now, do you have like a trickle from that? Like after that initial release, is it still for sale and you're still putting it out, or was it just pre-sale ended, sent out, gone? No,
there's definitely like a long tail on it. But also with a license like that, it's pretty busy,
Yeah.
So, but that was really cool. And the only reason we share the numbers is because it was like news, which is really kind of fun for us,
Yeah. Stuff like that's sweet.
Yeah. It's nice to have something that's like brag worthy. I mean, it all is, but
you also wonder like what else is close too, like what was the next one? Like who was the runner up? Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but, I remember it was a big deal because everyone's like, who, like the whole world, not the metal or like heavy rock world. They knew who that was, but watching the rest of the world go, who was this guy in a mask, like number one, like worldwide and like everywhere, breaking hard rock charting records in general, like through all history of hard rock charting. Absolutely crazy. So we're coming off like buzz of that. And now they're about to go on tour. We have a couple other, like we have obviously regular client load, and then we have a couple other big tours. So we had to free up all this space and get even more warehouse space, if you can imagine. And
I feel like when me and you talk about a lot of that stuff though too, is it seems to be band stuff is always last minute. Like how many of these big bands that you're dealing with are actually projecting like, hey, this is my summer stuff, this is my winter stuff, like be ready. I feel like that's a normal thing.
I think it depends. You're right. It's not a common thing. Usually because everyone's always afraid, like they're always gun shy on their projections and stuff. And then it's like the tour starts, first day happens and everyone's like, oh my God, we're doing like $25 a head, or some cases $50 a head or whatever. And then all of a sudden that 60% projection they did for the tour is more like 30, and you only have so much time to get it done. Which is why
scramble to put it together because they need it tomorrow.
Which is why we source so much business, because there's only so much we can do depending on where the tour is. So even though that's why we opened the Vegas shop and all that stuff, but even still, it doesn't mean it can print like 10,000 things overnight, like the next day and get it out. There's still other business happening. So that's why we rely on friendly shops like you.
Yeah. Well, we were talking a little while ago about who would be a good guest or whatever. And then I don't remember who said it, but we were talking about it would be cool to have like a professional merch guy, girl, whatever, that basically can talk us through that chaos and the whatever. And obviously you're the number one go-to for me for guest host on this topic. So, and this Angel is a friend of yours, someone that you've worked with?
So Angel, I was introduced to by a very good friend who, when we were getting ready to do Oprah's arena tour in 2020.
You got done talking about fucking breaking records for Sleep Token. And you're like, when we did Oprah.
Well, yeah, listen, I mean, there's certain names you drop like regularly, and Oprah just became one of them, which is
name to drop.
Well, here's the deal. Well, wait till we go through, Angel's resume, because I really want to tee this up right, because the reason I thought of Angel, it's not like I was kind of talking a little bit to Christina during Tech Check, and even with Angel, because he happened to pop on because I went long, obviously, because I was schmoozing. And I'm like, I really want to frame exactly at what level Angel operates. So we needed someone to, for our deal with WW Weight Watchers, formerly Weight Watchers, and Oprah for her tour in 2020. It's a big deal. It's an arena tour. They wanted to make sure they knew who was going on the road because it's not like we're going to go. But you're also sending a semi truck. You're handling all the projections, you're handling all the merch, they're responsible for it, but you're still like handling it. You're sending staff out on the road to deal with the venues and all that stuff. So you need someone legit. So we reached out to a friend of ours and she was like, I think I know the perfect person because he worked on Michelle Obama's tour merch. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And you get a resume.
It's so funny to think about who has merch. Like I would never think of Michelle Obama has merch. Like where do you see this shit in the
It was
wild?
like it was like, I don't know if it was the book tour or something like that. You'd have to ask him. But, he comes with a resume of like Shawn Mendes, Lamb of God, Michelle Obama, Social Distortion.
Two things that should be right next to each other.
It's all a big deal. But like I was writing it down before we came online. I didn't want my phone out and get in trouble. But like the resume is insane. And you should ask him,
I'm going to let Angel in and be part of this conversation because I don't want to have to repeat it all. Because I'm going to be like, so tell me about Michelle Obama. All right,
I wonder if he met her. I'll take this time to say, hi, Chad.
What up?
Hi.
Perfect. Wonderful. We were just speaking about Michelle Obama.
Oh, yeah. She was great.
That's what we want to know. So, like, I teed up. Anyway, hey, Angel, we haven't met before. You and Jared have met.
Hi.
I was telling Jared we wanted to have the idea of having like a professional merch person on the show and talk about, because we just get the one side of it in the apparel industry and the printers of like, okay, well, we just got to deal with everyone's shit because the road is the way the road is. And we have to kind of print what they need. And this is how the schedule goes. This is how things are. I would love to get like a perspective from somebody who does it for a living where it's like, okay, well, this is why this happens. Like these people aren't just like throwing out demands. It's like, this is the reality of the situation. So anyway, Jared was just teeing you up and he was like, well, we heard about Angel because of Michelle Obama thing. And I was like, well, let him in and then we can talk about it. So, I guess like before we can get to the Obama thing, how did you get to be a merch person and get to, I guess, that level of handling it?
I started touring about 20 years ago, and it was kind of the typical story. I feel like most people that start touring, I just started working for my friend's band. My friend being in Taking Back Sunday. And I started working on tour as his sober buddy / tour manager's assistant. Mostly because he needed a sober buddy.
Now, did you get pulled into that just because I've always been curious to this too, is like, when I was in a band, it was a lot of back then when you're in like a local band or like a regional band or whatever, a lot of the bands are just selling their own merch. And then it's like, all right, well, so-and-so from some band's going to come with us or it's a friend or whatever. Do you find that a lot of the time, like in your case, you were just a friend of the band that was like, hey, we want you to go on the road with us and help us because we trust you?
Yeah, that was kind of it. It was kind of, it was a little bit of a special situation. Like I said, it was more of a personal thing. It wasn't really, at the time I was working at a record label, Equal Vision, which you probably know or dealt with another upstate here. I was going to say, you look a lot like Dan Sandshaw from there. So it was more of something like that. And they were also at the time already kind of like, they were at a level where they had, crew and people. So I wasn't doing merch. I kind of fell into it 2 years later when that tour manager from that tour got hired to work for Henry Rollins. And he was like, Henry needs a merch guy. He has like 2 shirts and some books. You can handle it. So you want to come on this tour? And that was how I started doing merch. And
so
I
your
still
very
work for
first
Henry.
tour with doing merch is for Henry?
Yep. And that was 2007, and I still work for Henry I worked for him in 2023. I was out with him for about 6 months.
I feel like that checks out. I feel like he's a guy who's like, nope, you're my circle. This is the person I call every time it's out.
Yeah, like it's literally me, him, and that same tour manager for the, almost 15 something years. I've missed like 1 or 2 of his tours because I was committed to something else at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But he always just has me find somebody to fill in. I always get somebody who's not as good as me. And then, and
that's the move, man.
That is the move. And then I just come back. But yeah, Henry's like one of my top 5 favorite humans ever.
Jared, that's what is that your go-to when you send people like, oh well, we can't handle this because we're too overwhelmed. Pick someone shitty. So they're like, oh my god, I need to stay with AKT.
It takes a lot for us to hand something off to someone else just because we're so insane. Even if it's going to get all messed up or we're going to go crazy with it, we'll just do it anyways. But I do like that move.
I know you personally. That has to be the Jared move. Like that has to be.
It's definitely a thought that crosses my mind. Whether or not I would do it is a totally different question.
Well, I've done it like several times. I don't get someone completely incompetent. I just get someone who I know they won't like as much as me. so I'm like, okay, my job is safe.
Yeah,
there's your shop hack. There you go.
Yeah,
just send them to somewhere shittier.
Just a little
shittier.
Yeah. So when you go from kind of being the sober buddy on tour to, okay, I want to do merch for Henry Rollins or whatever, what was your next step after that tour where you're like, I like this, like I kind of want to dive more into this? What was that like? Yeah,
pretty much. For a little while there, I thought that what I wanted to be doing on tour was to be a tour manager. And I did that for about a year for the band Chiodos, if you remember them. And they were horrible people, horrible to deal with.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of checks out. Like, I wasn't expecting you to say anything else.
Yeah, no, they were just fucking garbage. And I was like, I couldn't deal. I came to realize that I can't be like an adult babysitter and I'm not accommodating to people like that. So I went back to doing merch because t-shirts didn't talk back to me.
Well, I was gonna say it's like an interesting dynamic too, because like you're on the road with them, like you have to be with them and doing these things, and the band gets some sense of leeway because they're the talent, like they're the band, right. Like they can kind of fuck around. You're like, dude, this is my job, like I have to do this, and like I have to get paid. Like if you fuck this up for me, this sucks.
Yeah, so it was more of a situation of if you fuck this up for yourself, it sucks, and it was just like I didn't want to save people from themselves 24/7, So
yeah.
But yeah, so I went back to merch, and then it was just like band after band after that. Like it was like Saves the Day for a while, who were the opposite. They were fucking awesome, great people, great tours. I worked for a lot of bands at that level, like Killswitch Engage. Trying to think of more like club bands, and then I started working. I think I would say my first like big band that I did merch for was the Black Keys, and that came from a merch company from working for one of their smaller bands. They were like, "Do you want to do this Black Keys tour?" And it was right when they were kind of getting to the amphitheater level, and that's how it kind of went from there. And I just kind of was good at it and enjoyed it and have just never looked back from there.
Do you have a question, Jared? You did a large gasp. Usually that means you have something to say.
I know you have to pay very close attention because I'm worried about like talking over someone. So something I'm interested in, like Angel's perspective, because of course I have my own, right? As an entertainment merch company, I have my own idea of this. But like, in your opinion, what levels of this role exist? And like, what were your milestone gigs for like rising through those levels? So I know you probably hate me saying this, but when I was saying at Tech Check with Christina is, you understand, like Angel is not like some road guy who goes out with any band. Like he operates at like the highest level. So like like, I don't think there are that many higher levels for doing merch than what he does. So like huge acts, you know? So I'm wondering if that's the highest and the lowest is whatever. Okay, fine. It was Taking
Let's
Back
just say
Sunday.
it's
Okay, that's an
Shiro.
extreme example that makes him seem super cool. But like any other person who goes out with their buddy's band to sell merch and nobody makes money and everyone pays to go on the worst vacation ever, what are the levels and what were your like milestone gigs as you traversed or like you went up through those levels? If you like that matter to you, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, I was lucky that when I started and for the first band that I started, Taking Back Sunday was definitely above a low level. Like they were already playing to, let's say, 5,000 people plus. And then in that year that I started working for them, they vaulted up from 5,000 to doing sheds to 10, 15,000 people. But after that, I did smaller things because I just kind of fell into that to begin with. But yeah, the levels are. I mean, we could talk about. There's levels of people that are touring out there with bands, like your friend's band in a van playing 300, 500 cap clubs that aren't sold out, where no one's making money. Where you're getting where a lot of times I say, at this level, the band should be selling their merch. They should be out there.
Well, that was my question, is because again, a lot of us, that's what it was. We had no right bringing somebody or paying somebody to come with us. It was just like, all right, well, the basis for me was just like, all right, well, I'll sit here and sell merch, which is what ended up getting me to where I am today. It's just like, all right, well, I like this and I'm designing them and I'm making them anyway. Like, we'll just keep doing this. But I guess I want to step back before we get too far into this, though, is like, what does that role actually look like? Like, what do you do? And is there levels to it? Because like, I'm not picturing you doing Rollins or some of these other big things like Black Keys. Like, it's just you standing behind a table, like grabbing sizes.
Right. That's kind of where like the real differentiation of the merch levels that bands go through. Because first, if you're talking about you're in clubs and it is whoever your person is actually behind the table selling t-shirts. And then you get to the level where you're playing to enough people in venues that need more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 people vending,
right?
Because there's that many people or you're doing that much business. So now, it's nowadays, like when I'm on tour, it's rare for me to be on a tour where I'm vending. So then you get to the level where now my job becomes more management.
I was going to say, is it more logistics of like you're keeping track of like inventory and where it needs to come and all these other things?
It is. I would say the two major differences, because there's also this kind of weird, vision that I've over the years have heard from people where somebody's like, "Oh, you're generally an arena guy. That must be easy because you don't have to vent and deal with it." I'm like, yeah, it's super easy to deal with 25 pallets of merch being delivered every other day, and and having to pull 300 boxes of things. Like I like to say merch is like it's like I'm a part-time day laborer, a part-time logistics manager, and then a third shift accountant. Like
in the middle of the night doing settlements.
Yes, like venues. In the middle of the night, I'm looking at settlements and numbers, and first thing in the morning, I'm crawling into the back of a hot, sweaty truck and literally pulling 200 boxes of things out of this truck.
Dude, that's rock and roll, baby. That's rock and roll lifestyle.
I feel like this is the questions I'm having are like so like at random right now, but like,
yeah,
is that your job? Say a lot of these shows don't get over till like 11, 12 o'clock at night. Is there like a whole, these are my hours after that happens to like assess and get quantities and figure this out?
Yeah. From like when the time the show ends, it's like, okay, now we wait a couple hours for merch to get back from, whatever you have, whether it's 2, 3, 10 stands, comes back for you to count it out with the venue and their staff, then load it back into the truck, and then deal with the paperwork. Like sometimes it's, say a show ends at 10:30, 11. It probably, if I'm lucky and everything goes very smoothly, it'll be 1:30 in the morning that I'll be in the back of the bus looking at tomorrow and thinking, okay, this is what I need to pull for tomorrow's show. This is what time we're checking in. So yeah, it becomes more of a management situation rather than the front-facing to customers that most people I feel think of.
But the cool part about that is you got to do it from the guy standing behind the table to
Exactly.
the guy telling people behind the table to multiple tables and multiple stands. And then it's not like you just jumped in and were like, hey, I know how to do all these things. Like you've done the road dog thing to get to where now you've seen all these things and kind of know roughly how all of these are going to go.
Yeah, because it's very different.
At that level, Angel, isn't it like my experience working with you, let's say for like the Oprah tour, right? We had, as the merch company, right? We were doing all the projections for the most part, all of the logistics, getting it to where you needed. Like, of course, working with you on site, and you would deal with like, they were being in consultation with you for obvious reasons, right? But like all the information was real time. We'd use @venue software, so we knew exactly what was going on. And we had full transparency in that, right? So like, do you find yourself like, how often do you find yourself getting involved in recommending quantities and things like that to the merch company or the management person, whoever it is that's like making that, who's sitting in that seat? Because I assume it changes depending on what's going on. Do you find yourself speaking to projections at those higher level tours, or are you just being like, dude, they're sending it to me, they can see that it's running low, I don't even have to get into that anymore, and it's just physical product receiving, counting in, getting it to the venues who are vending at that point? It's not like you're hiring local sellers at this level, right?
Right.
So it's the venues. So how much of it do you get involved with actually like telling people what's going on, or is it fully transparent with software at this point in time?
It depends. I attempt to be involved as much as I can. Because a lot of the times I want to have feedback into like a product line or, give them my 2 cents of what I think is going to do best or worst, what we need, what we don't need. Sadly, that often falls on deaf ears.
Is that usually at that level? How much is the band actually involved with any decisions on what their merch looks like, or how many designs they should have? Or
that's hard.
anything?
That's hard for me to tell. I feel like there's some that are very involved, and I probably don't know it. I feel like for the most part, that's kind of handled between merch company and artist managers.
Yeah.
So it varies. I like to hope and think that based on my experience on the road, that my opinion is valued for some of the, and some artists who I've dealt with for a long time. They do, they ask, what do you think of this or that, or what should we be doing? And that's great. I wish that happened more often.
I feel like you should be the person to talk to. Like you should be the one.
I feel the same
I'm
way.
I'm saying that because, and Jared, I want your opinion on this too. And I was going to ask you, because like you deal with these agencies or whatever, to be like, all right, well, these designs, like, are a lot of the creative decisions you're seeing being made by, say, you guys or the agency, or is it the band or whatever? So, like if you're getting a Day to Remember merch, like, is a Day to Remember fucking dealing with it, or is it you guys pitching stuff? It
depends on the artist. So obviously, when at a certain level, the management team is liaising between the band and everyone else. Whether that's good or bad, dude, this is why Angel's laughing, right? Like, because he knows, he knows it's bad. So I understand they have to exist with this filter layer in front of them and stuff. But when it comes to creative ideas, everyone's got an opinion. And the more layers you try to break through, the weaker that information becomes, right? So to answer your question, it depends. So for example, Day to Remember, those guys work directly with the artists in most cases. And there's, of course, I'm sure management specs out art to 1 million people, which everybody pretty much does, right? In this world. So, but the band is like approving all their stuff. It's not like some blind license, like, these giant legacy acts where it's like, oh, this is approved by like the company that controls the licensing and they're adhering to brand guides. Like that's like a different level that I don't even operate in. But no, the artists have eyes on it in our world. Even the biggest ones we've ever worked with, they have eyes on it and they're weirdly particular about it. Now, the recommended product line, that could go either way because everybody has an opinion. And a good merch person, assuming their input is relied upon by everybody else, can make or break everything, whether it's involved in deciding on a product line, because we've had ones where people give us good feedback or feedback that aligns with what we want or think or whatever, which I would call good. And then you have ones where people are fighting you on it and it's just an issue, you know? It depends who the decision maker's ear, who has the decision maker's ear. So It's not like a clear answer. It really just depends, like everything else we do.
Well, I feel like it's one of those things where, you know, I just did an episode yesterday with Juan from Squeegee Prints, and we were really talking about getting things down to the nuts and bolts of like, well, it takes me 1 minute to make a screen and that's going to cost X. And then it's most efficient for me to do things this way or that way. And I guess, Angel, I want to ask you, like, and this is where I feel like your input would be the most important for them is, guys, like we're seeing that out of your, say you've got 8 designs or whatever, that it doesn't make a lick of difference if you have a design that's a 1 color print or you have a design that's a 8 color front, 6 color back. But the thing is you're paying 4 times the amount for this design as you are for this one, but the fans don't really give a shit that it's a 6 color front, 6 color back. They'll buy the 2 color front. So like you would make as a band and as a company way more money if you stuck to a better blank but less colored print, but just had better art than having something that was super overcomplicated. Like I feel like with Jared, like and me, like we know, like we get all this stuff all the time and it's like, is this going to make a difference where they're getting a 6 front, 12 back, both sleeves, fucking gold foil tags?
We had a 7 color sleeve, 2 sleeves, 7 colors.
And I'm saying, like, it's cool to a degree, but like, is it really making a difference versus the other one that's like a more bare bones kind of thing? Like, I bought a shirt and Jared, I bought a $45 shirt the other day at a show I went to, and it was a Comfort Colors with a 1 color logo on it. And it wasn't even white flash white. It was just like 2 passes of white. Like, it was like one of the shittiest prints I've gotten in a long time. And I spent $45 on it. Like, and I'm the fucking printer. I'm just saying that, like, it wouldn't have mattered to me. Like, I just wanted it because it was for PD USA.
I don't know who that is.
No. Well, anyway, I went and saw him and bought that shirt. But to me, I've always thought that it's kind of like a less is more thing. And I think it's just coming down to the numbers. Like, me and Bill went to Orlando a little while ago and we stopped and saw Jared, but like we went and saw Deftones, and it was in the, what was it? I can't remember what the arena was. It was the Kia Center. And it's like this giant circle of, you know, levels. And there was like so many merch booths. It was like, here's one and then here's one. And it just kept going. And I was like, how many fucking merch areas are there? But the thing is everything they had printed on was like, it was almost like a printer or somebody who knew what they were doing laid it out. Like all their shirts were on Comfort Colors, which they knew were like popular right now, like heavyweight tees. And then all their shirts were tagged, which you don't see a ton of either. Like all had interprinted Deftones and private labels. And it was like, they had all these great options. And then when you bought the merch, it wasn't just, here's a t-shirt. They had Deftones bags they went in. And it was like all these things. It was just like top notch everything. And I was like, someone has this dialed. And then right next to them was was Mars Volta or whatever that played before them. And it was all on like a G5000 fucking, like, I was like, this merch is trash over here. Like, but then
you're
also
not the typical
like,
consumer.
I know what I'm saying. Like to a degree, it is becoming that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I went and did this live print for the American Apparel thing at GovBall. And it was like, people were coming there because they were like, oh, I love American Apparel. I love this brand, whatever. And it's like, I specifically am a shirt snob. So when I go to a show, I will not buy it unless it's on like a Comfort Colors, because it's the only thing that fits my fucking weird ogre body. Like, so that's, I guess this is a long way to get to a question of like Angel, like, and Jared, how much can you guys influence these bands or these management companies or something into we can have rad shit and be the most profitable possible if we do this formula of stick between this like 1 to 4 color prints.
You are
this
using
blank, this
logic
thing.
to apply to a creatively driven environment. Okay.
I know, but there has to be a business point to it at some degree.
Nope. You're giving management too much credit. They cannot force the creative. It was a Seinfeld, the delicate genius. You can't upset the delicate genius, right? So like you cannot. Well, they want what they want, and usually they're on the cutting edge, or they know what's trending and all that stuff, or what they want is what they promote, and what they promote is what people want at whichever chicken or the egg situation. And Angel could sit in his semi-trailer and like scream his ideas into the abyss, and nobody's going to listen because it's done. It's done before they even hire him, most likely. Well, that's probably not true. He actually gets hired way before the art's approved. But I just don't think people are going to listen and be like, hey, let's remove 2 colors from this because you're going to make all this money, because it feels, then it's like cheapening the creative side. Now, our design team, do I wish in a strategy meeting that we don't have and I wish we had, could I say, hey guys, start doing like lower color counts, bro. Let's see what happens. Or when a metal band goes out and it's just like white and gray and on black, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's what I like to see.
But that's
and then
what I'm saying is
punk
like
goes out and it's like, oh no, illustration's back. And it's just out of control.
Right. But that's what I'm trying to say is there's, I'm hating myself now that you called me out on like being the businessy side of this, but it's also just like realistically,
you're such a corporate shill, bro. You've always been one.
Fuck you. If you took these numbers and you were like, okay, in this tour, this is what sold, this is whatever, this is what this design was, this is what it cost us to purchase this. If you would take a side by side comparison with the real data that you probably have to have, because I'm sure all these arena tours, like you were saying, like you have to check those things out with the staff. It's not like you can just say your cut is X because of whatever. Like they want to count it with you, correct? Like they want to go through these numbers with you. So you have to have all that data already. And it's like, all right, guys, like just so you know, like if we were to take this same order of everything, but you would have used maybe this blank, or you would have had your colors down to this, you would have made an extra, I don't fucking know, random number. It's like 200 grand or something. You don't think that would sway anybody in any way? They'd just be like, we're creative.
I bet you management would be interested in hearing something like that, whether they can be the change they want to be. I don't know. I mean, I want to believe. I just, it's weird. Like, and maybe it's just like the feeling of me lately because we're talking today and who knows, the vibe recently has happened. But I'm like, dude, I'm just happy to get any approved art in time.
I mean, I agree with that as well.
Like at that point, it's like, hey, we're going out on the road in 3 weeks and we need a trailer full of stuff. And it's like, oh my goodness, we need to get this art. Why is it taking so long? We had a whole year to get it.
I think the thing is that we're not talking necessarily about that we want things to be, I mean, we do want things to be easier as printers. But what I'm saying is the way of the world with this, and again, like say Angel gets into a tour and you find out we're selling way more merch than we thought we were going to be. Like you said, Jared, like the 60 goes to 30. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, we need this shit tomorrow. Wouldn't it be easier for everybody involved? A, they're going to make more money, and B, it's going to be easier on us as the printers, where it's like, cool, all the shit that they need us to literally overnight tomorrow is a 3-color print, not the illustrated fucking 10 color front, 10 color back. It makes it way harder for everybody. Like,
I think to go back to the original question of whether our opinion of what you need matters, and especially if it's a dollars and cents thing, the answer is it depends. I'm sure there are some artists and managers who listen to that logic. Sadly, as Jared understands, that's very rare. I mean,
the disgust in his eyes right now. His soul just left.
Yeah,
no, my dog just ran across the room. I'm like, you better not bark, bro.
I would say that, that like Jared said, the delicate genius is a thing, and logic plays no part in that world. I mean, for instance, last year, the year before, I was out with a big artist who shall not be named, whose merch was all nothing, no black t-shirt with one or two colors. It was every t-shirt is on a sustainable blank and it's dyed. It can't just be a black shirt. It has to be a white shirt that was dyed with multiple colors and puffy print. And I will 100% say that this artist left $2 million on the table over the course of this tour because the stuff could not be produced fast enough. And no matter how many times I or the merch company said to this artist's creative director,
there's your first sign, dude.
Yeah, yes. We just need a simple tour shirt that we can just hammer them out to have. They just were not hearing that. We need to have these things this way because this is our vision. And
there are so many air quotes happening for the people listening.
Yes.
We need to have Chad edit in like a sound effect for every time we do air quotes.
Can it be
so
like
it's
bong?
Clear throughout this? Yeah, that the whole episode, just that audio clip of Angel saying.
And I mean, for this artist is also very rich, and $2 million is probably not a big deal to him. So it was fine, but at the same time, it was wild to be the merch guy on the tour, as well as dealing with people at the merch company who were as frustrated, saying, "Oh, okay, we're going into 2 nights at this arena, and I don't have 2 of my 5 top selling items. I don't have any for you, because we just can't get them made it fast enough because."
Well, you made a point that I never even thought of, which is a great idea, is being like, all right, we see you, we hear you. Your vision is that it's going to be all these custom dyed items with puff print and this and this and the other thing. But can we just have a fucking run of the mill, quick bang it out? Not on a shit blank, but like, okay, we'll meet in the middle and have something that has a ton of stock. Say it's like a Bella Canvas 3001 CVC or something. You know what I mean? Just some blank that's decent. And we're going to do a 1 color front, 1 color back fucking shirt where if we run low on the puff print, we can double up on this shit. So when people come up in line and they hear, oh, we're sold out of everything, they can at least spend the $40 on the fucking regular shirt. $45.99, you know,
50
whatever.
At Katy Perry the other night.
Oh, I remember that I went years ago to a Garth Brooks show when he did his like world tour, whatever thing. And he had a white Gildan 5000 with a black ink print on it. And it was $80.
Garth did. Interesting.
Dude, you get what you pay for, bro. It's good.
But it's funny because Garth is kind of known for having reasonable merch prices. At least I recall this a couple.
I just remember seeing that and being so absurd that it was like, this is a $2 blank.
Yeah, I remember at least a couple years ago somebody talking and saying, you know, we just had Garth Brooks here and all his shirts were like $25. I could be confusing him with Kid Rock though.
that sounds like correct that Kid Rock's would be like that.
I know for sure Kid Rock does that.
For the trashy people.
But I thought that Garth did the same thing. Yeah,
I mean, maybe. I don't know. It was just one of those things. Like, I walked by it and was like, "This is absurd."
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what. Like my most senior reps who usually will deal. Typically, it's a direct correlation with how senior they are and the size of the artist they work with. So, like, they know that. They're like, listen, we can do these promo products, these cut and sew items, like these custom like jackets and all this stuff from China, but like you're never going to get it to restock on a 3-4 week tour. So This is it. So it's kind of like the stuff Angel's talking about with like these custom, that's more insane. That's what happens when you have a creative director. You have like, oh, we're not even doing black shirt. We're doing like onyx custom dyed by like artisanal dudes or whatever, like with sesame seeds sprinkled in or whatever they're doing, and you just can't get
the dye is coffee grounds.
Yeah, or whatever, right?
You can plant the shirt and it'll grow into a tree.
Don't say that stuff like that, man. Somebody will want to do that. It's probably real.
Dude, that shit exists. It is real.
And that's
There's all kinds of stuff like
something.
that.
That's something. And when we were talking about the customer not caring, I've toured with artists, wanted all their stuff to be this like sustainable, earth friendly, and this is pre-pandemic, where that would make your merch go from $35 to $45 shirts. And, we've had signage for this stuff out, telling people this shirt is organic cotton and whatever. And it's like, you know what? No one cares. Like
they're coming to buy anyways because they love it. They want to buy it anyways. It's just another talking point, right? Exactly. It's almost like a press PR thing.
It's like it's like a 1% for the planet kind of thing or whatever of like, okay, well, 1% of all of our merch profits are going to go to this charity or, to some rainforest or something.
Exactly.
Like I'd almost rather see that than being like, well, every shirt has to be made in USA and sustainable. And, we're using eco.
We had people at one point, I can't even remember. It made so little sense. I'm probably not even going to remember it correctly because it made no sense. But it was like, we don't want stuff that's been flown around, shipped around, and all this stuff. And I'm like, where am I going to get it? I got to sew it. I don't understand. It's all coming from somewhere. But like they were so fixated on that. And we offered all of the wholesale things. We said, dude, here's all the sustainability things. Because you think of, let's say, Gildan, right? And in my head, until I learned a lot recently, I'm like, oh man, that shit's bad, dude. Like that is like, oh God, who knows what the conditions are over there or whatever. And then you realize, oh wait, it's so big. It actually has to probably be the best at that.
They're actually, one of the best. Yeah.
Exactly. So
also sidebar, did you see that they bought Hanes today?
Yes, I did see that. We were on the same text thread.
Well, I wasn't looking in the text thread. I was just.
That's where I get all my news.
We're telling Angel he knows now that Gildan
bought Hanes.
Hanes, yeah.
Well, apparently Hanes was losing money. Who'd have thought? What's next? Fruit of the Loom? They're going to take them all, you guys.
Who makes? Does Gildan make Comfort Colors?
Comfort Colors and American Apparel.
Oh wow!
But they acquired Comfort Colors, correct?
Oh okay.
Or have they always made it?
Yeah, they bought. I'm pretty sure they bought it, and the same with American Apparel, obviously.
Right. Then they bought American Apparel, and then they go, okay, here's the American made apparel, and then here's the the other American Apparel that's
Honduras
like cheaper, right?
American Apparel.
The thing is, even with that, and to be honest, like I said, like I went and visited the facilities in Honduras, and I went to North Carolina and saw all this other stuff, and I got the behind the scenes of their whole facility and whatever. And it's like you have, like Jared said, you have in your brain that this is how it's going to be, and it's people making shit in shacks and fucking whatever else. And it's like, dude, it couldn't have been further from the truth. Like going there, it was like the cleanest, nicest facility ever. Like great
makes you
lighting,
look twice at your own. You're like, wait a second, who's the problem?
Like everything was dialed. There was like medical staff. There was like food. Like people were walking around in like Jordans and like jeans and like normal clothes and like whatever. Like it looked like it was a normal facility in the States. Like it wasn't like this weird thing. And then you go out back and it's like, okay, well here's this like, here's all the sustainable shit that we have. Like we have this like big furnace that basically burns or whatever it does, like all of the scraps of everything, and it powers the entire like plant, and it like heats the water for the dyeing process and like all these other things. And then all the wastewater goes into these like ponds out back where it goes from pond to pond to pond. And there's actually wildlife that lives here because of this, because the water's so good and like all these other things. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm totally fine with my shirts being made in this facility instead of some fucking slumlord thing in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, dude, but what sounds better on your Instagram post? Made in LA, or look at all of our technical, like,
I don't care. I'm just saying, and me personally, I've seen it, and it made a huge impact and thing to me, which is something I've tried to say to them. And I'm like, they have their own like videos and marketing on the thing. And I'm like, you need more people to see this. I think it's just the thing. I've been doing this for 20 years and like, I just learned about it. Like,
Yeah.
Why does every fucking printer not know about all of these things? Anyway, super off topic, but it's just like, I guess the thing I really wanted to know, Angel, because we kind of been fucking all over the place, is like, can you break down what a mid-level to, I guess anywhere in this chain of starting from just working with a little band to a big band is like, how does the relationship between you guys and the print shop work necessarily? And Jared's kind of talked about this a little bit, but is it a lot of forecasting? Is it like last minute things? Is it, because what I want to do is I want the printers who listen to the show, because everyone who listens to this is in a screen print shop of some capacity, is to know that it's not always the band or the management or the merch guy's fault that everything is last minute or everything is whatever. Like, can you shed some light or fight for your side of the story of like, this is why this happens? You know what I mean?
Yeah. We had talked about this earlier, Jared, was like the road guy relationship to the print shop is, I would say, almost non-existent in that, there is the go-between of the artist, merch company, management. When we're talking about who is responsible for the things when they're getting to the print shop, I would say 99% of the time it's artist / management, whether that be positive or negative, whether they're getting.
So do you think that disconnect is the issue, is because they're not eyes on the ground like you, and they might not necessarily be listening to you, and they're just looking at numbers of like, well, we don't want to spend more than this, but oh my God, we're realizing we're out of stuff. And
I think the disconnect is more that kind of like in a lot of situations in regards to touring and whatnot, I feel like merch oftentimes takes a back burner and is kind of an afterthought, even though it is a major revenue stream for most artists.
Right.
Like things happening last minute, that happens. I wish I could say it was rare. It's more often than not. I feel like artists that I deal with, whether they're mid-level, small level, high level, things. That same artist that I said earlier with leaving millions of dollars on the table, they didn't approve artwork and product line till the morning of the first show.
it's disgusting.
And so I want to say we went into first of 3 nights at the United Center in Chicago with one shirt when doors opened that was printed at Culture Studio that day.
Don't worry, Jared, we'll bleep that part out.
And
I love everyone.
And throughout
culture.
Yeah,
we do.
Throughout the night, 2 or 3 other designs being delivered, literally shirts that were blazing hot, coming off the printer. But this, it's falls squarely on ultimately who makes the decisions to get these things done and approved and set and out to the printer. It's 99% of the time it's artist or manager. I would say it's never a merch company person or a road person that is not thinking about this well in advance. And wanting. So
do you think that a lot of that is just kind of your job is basically to wrangle like the situation? Like they'll be like, this is what we have, this is what it is, make it work. And
for the most part, no, it's not my job. My job is to facilitate and deal with this when it comes to the road, when it comes to dealing with the venues, making sure this is properly handled at the shows,
mm-hmm.
which at that point, my job is kind of like hands tied because there is no merch for me to deal with. So no, it's at that point, it becomes my job to just ask like my merch company rep, do we have a product line yet? do we have a product line yet? First show is tomorrow. You know? So no, but yeah, I think
as it gets like the acts get bigger, Dylan, like I know, of course, listen, there's problems with everything, and this industry is always crazy when it's entertainment merch, but like the bigger the act, usually the less hectic it is, which I don't know if Angel would agree, but from my experience, it's like the bigger they are, the more professional the systems usually are and the people are. So like when you get lower and you're in your club shows and, you know, maybe smaller, once you're in like arenas and stuff, like that's where people are at a level where they have to mature to that level, you know? So like when it's more DIY and like crazy and everyone's running around like chickens with their heads cut off and nobody's accountable and everyone's panicking, that's usually smaller stuff, which is right where AKT likes to live. Like, that's like our sweet spot, right in the chaos, you know?
I feel like, yeah, you're right. Like when it's something smaller and there's no one who's like it's their responsibility, even like a small band that, you know, has a manager, they're dealing that manager is probably dealing with everything. Like everything is their job. It's one person dealing with a band member. And then it's just like, the tour's in a week. We should make some merch designs. You know, so it's things like that. Although
Dylan's just like shaking his head, he's like so mad.
Yeah, and
I'm not mad. I'm just trying to look at this from like the business side of this to a degree, because I think that's what all of us printers are looking at is like, all right, well, we want projections, we want enough time to have a standard or a good turnaround. We want to know that we're using the correct sizes or blanks or all these other things to make it to where it makes sense for the band. They're making a lot of money because the goal is that they sell a shitload of merch so that we can print a shitload of merch. So I'm just saying, like, hearing the chaos of all of these things of like, this isn't ready, this isn't printed, this isn't whatever, it's like, it hurts our souls to a degree to be like, well, we could have made this way easier and made you way more fucking money.
Yeah, I feel for the printer, and I often feel for the merch company person that I'm dealing with, who, you know, also at the end of the year, they're looking at this person's artists and looking at how things performed, and they're at the mercy oftentimes of the band or the manager or whoever it is whose job it is, who, like I said,
the creative director,
bing bong. And for whatever reason, too often I feel like merch is an afterthought.
But the thing is, isn't there a level of artist where the merch is where they're making the majority of their money from? Because they're not selling albums. You're not buying CDs anymore. It's merch.
Yeah, I would say most artists that are successful, especially if you're playing an arena level, probably the majority of your money is coming from ticket sales and merch sales.
Then why the fuck is this not organized?
Dylan, go to a Slipknot arena show.
Yeah,
and see what's happening.
Yeah, no, that's
insane.
Yeah, the question is super valid. Why is this, you know, not being taken care of? And I can't answer it because, like I said, a creative director. If I was this artist and my creative director didn't approve merch designs till the day of the first show of a tour that had been announced over a year in advance and cost me millions of dollars, that creative director would not have a job.
Angel, can I ask you this? I know who it is, but obviously we're not going to say. It's not a rock band. I can tell you that much because there's way more respect
first of all,
in that world.
Hey, back up a little bit. You were screaming into the microphone. You were so heated. Chad is going to be so angry because it's like you're like, yeah, and then like right into the mic.
Okay. Let me try again. I know it's not a rock band.
There you go.
Because it's way more of a priority for that genre than it is other genres.
Correct.
We've done stuff like, Dylan, you work with comedians and all that stuff. Like sometimes it's just not a very important thing and it's hectic and it's always messy and whatever. Like a friend of mine is like a lawyer for a ton of like Latin music, like artists, right? And anytime he hooks us up, I'm like, man, we talk so much and like nothing happens. Like it's like everything's like it's like they don't do it. He goes, dude, they don't like do this. Like it's done by local promoters down in other countries when we do that. And when they come to the States, they're just like, hey, can you like fly this many out there? And we're like, dude, at this point, we'd have to bring it in duffel bags on an overnight flight. What are you talking about? Like it's that stuff happens a lot. And I think you could probably draw a correlation graph to genres too. And like who makes it a priority and who doesn't.
Probably.
It just blows my mind to a degree of it's like, you know, like you were saying, like me doing stuff for comedians. And I remember whatever it was 2 years ago or something, we were doing all the merch for John Mulaney. And it was like every show was like, oh, we need another 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever of this piece or whatever. Can you have it for tomorrow's show? And I'm like, I can't even order the fucking blanks in time for this. And it was like, I hired my dad to drive a U-Haul of stuff to like Boston for like a show. And it's like, how is this not figured out? Like this isn't a band of whatever. This is the manager talking to Mulaney, and Mulaney's like, I want a picture of my face on a shirt. It's like, all right, cool. Let's do that. And another design. Sweet. This is how many we're roughly going to sell. Let's just spread it out and do it. But it's like, oh, we need this for this. It's like every day they're figuring it out. And it's like,
yeah. And then, you know, in something like that, where say you're the road guy and somebody like, you know, a lot of comedians I know because comedy is weird. Like there's comedians that can sell 10,000 tickets and do $1 a head in merch. And there's some that'll do, you know, $10 a head. But a lot of things like that don't have a road person out. And maybe the person, the manager or the comedian or whoever doesn't pay attention to the numbers or the inventory or whatever. And you get situations like that whereas if I'm a road guy, even on tours that are, you know, managed by a merch company, you know, I've found myself looking down the road and saying, hey, I want 3,000 of this shirt delivered by this day, 10, 12 days out from now, because I'm trying to give you the heads up because I don't know if you're looking at it very closely or projecting it. I'm just telling you that I know I'm going to need this many then, which is when, you know, a road guy that knows what they're doing is obviously valuable because somebody like John Mulaney, if they're calling you and saying they want 1,000 shirts tomorrow, there's somebody there not doing that job, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I mean, it was definitely the ball was dropped somewhere, but it just makes us look bad too, because I feel like it's part of management's like, well, we use this company for this thing and they could never get things to the date, or we could get things to the date, but it was like, all right, well, shipping on every order is $1 billion because it's 2,000 shirts being overnighted to California from New York or something.
Oh yeah.
Like,
we've done that where you move mountains and you make the impossible possible. You screw over clients, or not even that, you overnight other people's stuff because you bump things on the schedule. It's a thankless situation, because then at the end of the tour, that stuff's typically forgotten, and you know, God forbid you bring it up because then you're you know, petty or whatever. But and they're like, there's too much shipping. Shipping's way too much.
Right, but
we've had clients where we say, here, give us your shipping account. We don't care. And then they go, no.
But it's the thing is, like, me and you know, is like, say John Mulaney, for instance, like, I would love to have John Mulaney as a client, and I would love to do every tour he has from here on out. I would love to build a relationship. I would love to keep their merch and their designs on file and have everything ready and whatever, and figure out a plan to make next year better. But the problem is when management, that before it even gets to us, fumbles it, it's never them that's the issue. It's the merch company couldn't get it to us on time, or they're not going to source this or whatever.
What are you talking about? Somebody taking accountability? What are you, crazy?
I'm just saying that it really, that's why I guess we're heated about this like unorganized thing, is because we as owners of a print shop are trying to run our own business and get our own clients that are reliable and everything else. And the bridges are being burned by not us. Like someone else is throwing a cocktail on this bridge, and it's like, I
spend so much of my time like worrying about people knowing the true side of my story, whether it's my company or whatever, or me in personal or professional situations. It's exhausting. There's only so much you can do. I mean, we've had people who sign net 30s, they ghost us forever. We charge a card, and all of a sudden we're the devil. And you know what I mean? And you're like, you literally like, so like you win, you lose, you lose, you lose.
Yep.
You know, if you're right, you're wrong. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And that's just the side of being a service business, a commodity business in this case, right? So you try to put the most value you can, or put most of your attention into the customers that can see that in you, or it doesn't matter if you're a merch business or you're a person on the road. Like Angel, you've been doing this for how long now?
Almost 20 years.
Okay. And I assume you're a bit pickier about what stuff you go out on. Like, you're not just going to go for anything. If somebody's horrible,
Chiodos calls up. He's not going.
Dude, people can grow, okay?
Chiodos,
you have to give them grace to grow and move.
Chiodos in 2025 could not afford me. I will say that right now.
Well, I think, to your point, Dylan, whether it's whatever comedian it is, fill in the blank, right? If there's that much of a history, and going to your point where you were asking, well, can't we just tell people to print in smaller colors or less colors and all that stuff? I say to you, well, can't you convince their management team to let you put someone on the road and say, dude, this person will pay for themselves at $1,500 a week or whatever it is.
Yeah, that would
let me put someone out with you. We'll use our point of sale. The money will go into our bank account. We'll settle up at the end of the thing. That's the managed tour stuff that I talked to you last time we were on. I was on, right? That's part of this. Now it has to be enough to be worth it.
Right. Angel, have you dealt with anything like that? Like maybe someone from the merch company going on the road with you guys to kind of help facilitate things, or is that not really a thing?
Not really a thing. I actually, probably the one time I really remember it is on the Oprah Winfrey tour that Jared was involved in, because we did have a merch company person coming out to every show, kind of be a good. That was very. I hope you don't mind me speaking.
Those were more like events. Like that was like 1 week on, 1 week off, and it was one day. So those were like a whole production, and we just had to be around. You know.
Yeah, and also it was like, management, and it's a weird thing. It's Oprah. It's not a concert. It's not something. They were. I would say they were difficult in that they didn't kind of get the merch game, so to speak, in how it worked. So there was God, who was it? I can't remember his name right now. Jonathan, somebody
Robert?
from AKT. Who?
Well, different people were at different people.
Jordan
Was the account rep on the account. Sorry, I didn't know what we were talking about.
So Jordan was out. I remember Jordan.
He came to a lot. Alex went to one or a few. I went to one.
Yeah, but I remember
Grant
Jordan
went to a few.
Jordan being at a couple of shows, and one time I said to him, "Why are you here?" And he was just like, just to keep things smooth, and it was basically because management was weird on that. It was just the whole thing was a weird, because like Jared said, it was an event. It wasn't like a concert. So there was just a lot of moving parts that were very different from what everybody was used to. But
to
generally,
your point,
no.
Angel, like you to actually to Dylan's question too is like, so the basic question I have for you, Angel, is who hires you usually? Is it the band? Is it a merch company, or is it some production company? Like, what is the most common, or what are examples of people who hire someone like you?
At this level, 90% of my gigs come from merch companies. There was a point, and occasionally there's, bands that I still or have worked for over the years who it's still them who hire me. But 90% of the time, because, an artist like, Blink-182 or Drake or whoever other artists I've worked for, they're not contacting me. Their tours are managed by a merch company. Merch company's like, we want this guy to go out. So 90, at least at this level, I would say when I was starting out, it was mostly directly for bands, or, a band's manager would call me and say, hey, I got your number from this band's manager, and, you worked for, and we want you to come out on this or whatever. But yeah, at this point, for me, it's mostly merch companies. I feel, honestly, in the past, especially post-pandemic, I feel like it's more of a common thing for bands that even if they're not if they're still on the kind of lower level, they're working with merch companies. I feel like a lot of merch companies maybe are making these deals for bands that they anticipate a year or two down the road being bigger. So they're hiring people, and they're also like merch companies are hiring people who are maybe not on the level of, they're not going to send them out on an arena tour, but they're like, oh, we have a roster of road people who do 500,000, 1,500 cap venue tours.
Yeah, I mean, we do. We know,
yes,
like,
you guys would absolutely
know certain levels of people, and you're like, oh, that one's okay for like a square sort of deal, and nothing really matters. But if it's got to be perfect, like when Alex and I interviewed you, like we knew what we needed. It wasn't like, oh, you worked with Michelle Obama, which is now the perfect segue for Dylan to ask whatever questions he had about that. But like, like we were like, we knew you spoke the language. Like, you're not somebody we had to explain, like, can you make sure all the satellite booths are stocked? Can you make sure that we beg for more satellite booths? Can you know what I mean? Because you understand that that's what we need. We couldn't just have someone who like, hey, this guy works for me who's down to travel. Like, hey, go out here and do this. Like, it's its own business model. And honestly, like, I don't even know how to do it. I know in broad strokes how it works, but I'm not there on the ground dealing with these random venue accountants.
And once you're,
morning,
once you're on tour and you're doing these tours, you have like relationships with, because, for the most part, a lot of these venues and the people that run them don't change all that often. So, when you're a touring guy, it's, very easy to, regardless of what the artist is and what specifications they have or the amount of business they do, it's easy for me to, call somebody up and say, I'm coming through with this tour.
Oh, because you're hitting all the same venues all the time is the idea. Like, so when you're like, oh, I know this person at these arenas, and they just know who you are.
Yes. And so they know that, hey, we're both professionals here. We're going to decide this tour. Because I mean, also me being on tour, especially in the last couple of years post-pandemic, like I said, I go through buildings where somebody at a building will say, hey, do you know this person? And I'll be like, no. And they say, well, they're coming through with this tour and they don't seem to know what they're doing. So
it's pretty awesome to build that kind of reputation, though, like to some of these large venues.
Exactly, which is why I like to think, that I have a value.
Yeah, for sure.
That I bring to the table, where it's like, yeah, you're going on an arena tour or you're doing stadiums. I've been to all these buildings. I know all these people. I know how to deal with them, and to make everything.
That brings it back to the systems and processes and all these other things. Like, it just makes things smoother, which, like I said, is just one small cog of all of these other things can happen too. And then they'd be like, oh my God, Angel is the best. Everything is like perfectly, whatever. And it's like, I wanted to see if Angel, you start, but like Jared talk about it too. Can you guys explain to everybody like how you go about forecasting before a tour happens? Because you were talking about like forecasting, but then also like $1 per head or $5 per head or whatever. Like, how do you figure those things out?
I mean, for me, I don't do a lot of it other than, like I said, that's mainly a merch company office guy thing. I do try to throw, because a lot of times I'll be shown the product line and asked, what do you think out of here is going to be the banger, And so I can say,
that's what they ask.
Yes, literally that's what it is. Which one of these is which is the banger? And I'll say, okay, this one right here, I think is going to be 50% of the business, because also another sidebar to product lines, generally for some reason, always too much, less is more. So it's like, hey, you want to have 10 shirts in here, but I'm going to tell you right now, what this one and this one are going to be. Oh, look at the puppy.
It's like the RCA
bong.
Dog.
Yeah. Copyright infringement.
Don't mind him.
Yeah. And so it's like,
so angry looking.
These two right here are going to be the majority of your business.
That was a question that I had for you separately. I don't want to get too far off of the topic of the forecasting because I want to hear what Jared has to say. But it's like, is that the case? Because we always dealt with that. Is we have all these people that are like, well, I want this design, but I want it in 4 color options, and I want this and this. It's like, let's bring this down to like less is more of a thing, because there is like science behind that. Of like, if you give somebody, I can't remember what it was. It was like the rule of 3 or something. Like, if you give them X amount of choices, they'll decide faster. They'll more go for what they want. But if you give them anything over 3 to a degree, say you give them 10, they might get too frustrated or not know what they want, and they won't purchase at all.
Yeah, I have a link to an article that AppVenue published a few years ago, which I've forwarded to like managers and band people that basically they have the data that shows regardless of your product line being whether it's 4 or 5 items or 15 items, you're always going to do something like 70 something % of your business in 3 items.
Right.
So less is more according to the numbers. Like it's not just me not wanting to have 15 shirts on the tour. It's just a fact.
Yeah, because I bet it comes off. Because honestly, I would be lying if a road guy told me that. I'd be like, yeah, buddy. Like that would be my instinct to think that, right? Because that's just how it goes. You just go, oh, everyone's just out for themselves or whatever.
Yeah, but
that was the thing. That was the thing that I saw. It was a shoe guy or whatever, worked in a shoe store, and he said that if someone asked for a shoe and then they asked for another shoe to look at and they brought them out to you and then they were like, well, I want this third one over here, he'd be like, all right, well, which one do you want me to take away? You know what I mean? He wouldn't just bring you a third shoe. It was like, all right, well, if you're going to have these 2, I'm taking one away. So you're choosing between 2, not between 5 shoes. You know what I mean? And it makes that choice easier.
So that kind of, well, I guess that's more about like picking different products to have in your spread or whatever. But to go back to what you were asking about projections and things like that. So everybody has like their own methods. So Robert, he's like our main projection person. So like not all tours we get involved in doing projections. Like some of our reps have gotten tools that we've made and like they use it to help clients and stuff. But when it comes to projections, like there's of course is guessing involved. But the bigger it gets, the more sales history they have, and you can do your best to kind of spread it. But you have to account for, you would basically look and go, okay, what's the capacity at the venue? Okay, what's the likelihood it's going to sell out? Or what % sell out do you think you have? So you build these spreadsheets that have the number of people who will be going. And then you go, okay, what is the average per head that we expect for a band like this, a genre like this, in a market like this? Is it an A market? An example of an A market, Angel, is
New York,
like
Los
New York
Angeles.
City, right? And a B market is
Boise, Idaho.
There you go, going extreme. So like the way these bands perform in one versus the other, it's different, but it's also different based on state and
genre.
And genre, 100%. So that's why it's all unique to the band, right? Or the artist. So we have the spreadsheet that kind of does it all. And then you go, okay, what would it be for the whole tour? And then you go, okay, well, no artist manager is going to buy it all. I mean, I wish they would. I've had that happen once or twice where this social media people, they took a tractor trailer like of all of it on the road. I'm like, oh yeah, this was awesome. They just didn't have to restock anything. That was it, And then when you re-up, it gets even more complicated because now you're going, okay, which designs need to go and which ones are not restocking and all that stuff, So it's almost like its own hour-long discussion about how projections work, which would probably bore everyone to tears. But Robert would do it if you wanted.
He would
do it, and he'd share his screen. Yeah.
Just a side question, Angel. What are your favorite like blanks or things to deal with on the road, or is there things that are super annoying?
Comfort colors, I think, are the best shirts. Like I don't even know when did they even appear. Like recently, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Like,
dude, they were around in Greek life is where we found them.
Really?
We don't do Greek life anymore, but it was all Greek guys, all Greek people were doing that, like fraternities and sororities. And then that was it.
It makes it sound like it's just Greek guys on the street, like
yeah,
like wearing these shirts. You mean like fraternities and like that, college life stuff.
Sorry, I've been out of the game in that world for so long. But yeah, it was always that they were always ordering it. I'm like, why do they care so much about this? And then eventually bands got into it and clothing brands and stuff.
Well, a lot of it originally, I think, and I might be totally wrong, but I think a lot of it originated in like the resort market. Like it's a lot of that like feel good, life is good shirts or the whatever. It's like the heavyweight beach. It looks faded. It's something you would buy if you went to a beach town or a boardwalk or something, that was like the premium shirt, which is why I feel like they're their tag is the way their tag is like this canvas fucking hardcore, not going to fall out tag because they want to keep that branding in there. So a lot of people that get Comfort Colors are just flipping the tag up, printing this relabel thing, and then leaving the Comfort Colors tag in because people will buy it if they know it's on Comfort Colors. There's so many bootleg sites that I buy stuff from. Say I want to buy a Terminator shirt or something online or an Alien shirt.
Same.
There'll be one that just says T-shirt, and then there'll be one next to it that's like $5 more that says on Comfort Colors in quotes. And it's like, I'm going to buy the Comfort Colors one. No, it's perfect, dude. Like Cavity Colors is a place that I order stuff from. They have a new one. What was it? There was one the other day that was, they came out with a line of shirts from the movie Signs. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. I went in and I was like, yep, that one's on Comfort Colors, buying that one. That one's on Comfort Colors, buying that one. So, but again, that's why I was saying, like, when we went to Deftones, all of their shirts were on Comfort Colors and all their hoodies were on Independent. And I was like, oh, they have someone who knows what the fuck they're doing, like doing this. But is there a brand of shirt or something that you get a lot of like, well, I'm not buying that because it's this, or they want to complain, or you guys have a lot of issues with like holes or defects or something like that?
Nothing off the top of my head. I mean, people want Comfort Colors. They want shirts that are soft. But off the top of my head, I can't think of anything where people are like, "Oh, this shirt sucks," or that I'm like, that I'm like, "Oh my god, this brand is just terrible." Like there's for the most part, most shirts are fine. Like they're okay. And then
I don't know. I tried to give you a hoodie when you work for you, and you guys are like, they're worse than the shop owners, Dylan. These guys, they're like such t-shirt snobs. And he's like, well, what brand is it? And I go, well, it's this and that. And they're like, oh no, we're good. And then I feel like a total asshole, and I'm just like, oh my god, we're so lame.
No, I think you were asking what like size we were, and because I have that AKT. I have that AKT like thin black and red hoodie, which I actually love. I think it's great. But like, I think you asked, because we're merch guys. You asked us like, hey, what size? And we were like, what kind of hoodie is it? Because it depends.
I read it as like, dude, please, my closet is like a coveted space.
I mean, it is, but it was more
how
like,
many how many band shirts do you actually keep? Like, be honest. Do you have a collection, and how big is it?
Actually, earlier this year, I purged. I must have had 350 t-shirts in like drawers and a couple boxes. And I was just I rotate through like a dozen that I wear, and I was like, okay, I just need to go through a bunch of these and either donate them or sell them off if I can, whatever. But yeah, I do still have a ton of shirts. But I've been on a self-imposed moratorium where I'm like, I don't need to go on a tour and bring home 3 shirts from that tour, like, or need to bring home any.
I do that when I go to trade shows and stuff now, when they give you the goodie bags, or you go to this conference and they give you the bag, and it's like, I take the bag to the hotel room and then I just leave it there. And then when I check out, it stays there.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be the cleaning lady's new apparel or something. Like, it's just staying
like
there.
I just did a Social Distortion tour, and I love Social Distortion. I've worked for them a bunch, and I was like, I'm not bringing anything home from this tour because I have like 12 Social Distortion shirts or hoodies at home. I don't.
Also, there's something to be said about it being like a new one being different than like an old one.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
But still, it was just like, I don't need another black Social Distortion t-shirt, whether it's new or old. I just don't need it. So
you could probably go buy one of those at Target.
Probably
next to an AC/DC and a Def Leppard shirt.
But I did acquire 2 Katy Perry shirts the other night, but I did not pay for them.
You were wearing a New Kids on the Block shirt earlier.
Yes, which is a bootleg that I got at a venue because they were just confiscated and they were just sitting there because New Kids on the Block came through, and I was like, this is a cool shirt for me to wear around the house.
That's awesome. Is there a way that us as printers can better organize or package or leave POs or writing on a box that helps you? Because you were mentioning getting in a trailer and being like, I got to pull 300 boxes out of here or something.
Yeah.
Like every merch company, I'm sure, does it differently. Is there something where you were like, please, for the love of God, like put a white sticker PO? This is what's in this box. These are the sizes. This is what's what.
It's like put it, and sometimes it's a merch company thing because they have their own boxes. It's just a sturdy box that will make the trip.
So a double wall.
Yeah, a sturdy, and luckily most merch companies at this point, like Bravado, whoever, they have their
Not
they
AKT. They're basically in garbage bags.
Excellent boxes.
Oh no! I always every time I see somebody recycling one, I go, "Does anyone know how much this thing costs? It's way more than you think." Yeah, it's like a $4 box. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but I mean, just to when you're boxes that need to be stacked in a truck, like it needs to be a sturdy box. It needs to be clearly labeled, not a label with that the label is this big and it says the shirt name and the quantity in 12 point, like print it big, please, small 72,
right.
And also fill those boxes, but don't overfill them. like 72, 84, maybe 96 in a box. But I said to Jared earlier, I did a show recently where I got a box that was 144 XLs. And I don't know what the blank is. They were just really flat. Like the dozen was just really flat. But this box legit weighed 75, 80 pounds. And I was like, what the fuck?
It's actually cheaper. I might be wrong because Chris would correct me, but I think it was anything over 55 pounds is cheaper to send us 2 boxes than it is to send us 1 box that's 55 pounds or 60 pounds or whatever.
Yeah, but Angel said it was freight, so that doesn't count here.
No, that's true. Yeah,
it's like you only did this to have less boxes. Like, just you're putting them on pallets anyway. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, you also probably want that PO sticker or whatever with the info on all 4 sides.
No, it can be on one side. It can be on one side.
Because we've had that before where we've sent stuff and they requested it to be at least on the 2 skinny ends because when they stack it, they didn't want the label side to be trailer side where they would have to like flip the box around to see what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen that, but that's a great idea. If it was on both ends, that'd be great because then it's easier, especially when I'm loading a truck with somebody who I just hired to be a truck loader. And I have to keep saying label out, label out, label out.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't have to worry about that part if we labeled both sides.
Correct.
So that you could just throw the box. Yeah,
exactly. So
that's what I'm saying. Trying to make things easier for you. Because there were other things too. I mentioned this the other day when we were talking to 3PL where certain places or tours or whatever, we bought box divider cardboard where it wasn't just going to be a box of smalls, a box of mediums or whatever. There would be stuff where they would have restocks of, 25 or 50 of this or whatever. And we could put all the smalls and mediums in 2 boxes or in 1 box, but we have a cardboard divider that is the basically the size of the box that goes in that divides the smalls between the mediums. So if you don't just rip a box open and look, you don't have to sit there and like rifle through and look at tags and be like, well, where are the smalls? Where are the mediums in this? There's a clear divider between the things in the box. Yes. That's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to think of things that make everybody's life easier. So like you were saying, knowing somebody in a facility, it makes that whole experience so much easier where now you're like, well, I like working with Upstate or AKT or whatever because they do the box dividers and they put the labels on both sides of the box. Like these are ways that we can stand out as printers to work with more legit companies or tours because we do things better than the other person. So that's what I'm looking for is like things where you're like, oh, this will make you stand out.
There was a Black Keys tour I did that I believe it was Crom Tidwell was the merch company. And they had on the label, they actually had a picture of the shirt, like a color picture, which I've never seen before or after. And I was like, this is brilliant. Like
Jared's doing that tomorrow.
No, do you know how
Yeah.
do you know how expensive color laser ink is? That's where my head goes. How messed up am I? So get this though. We've done that for certain applications. So when we do like the Comic-Con cruise, we do the 80s cruise, 90s cruise, High Seas Rally, which is like biker cruise, and Star Trek cruise. That stuff, it needs to be, they request it that way, but also we do it that way because it just makes it so much easier to deal with on site. But we're also heading up a lot of the on ship activation of the retail store, so it's a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff, I've seen it a bunch. I've seen boxes coming in and out of us, so I see that on people's things, and I'm
we do the wow. UPS sleeves, like the free ones you can get from UPS, where it's got the sticky side and it's basically where you put all the stuff when you ship international. Yeah, just print it on a piece of paper and slide it in the sleeve. You don't have to do the sticky label. You just put it in there, and then you can have your packing slip and everything in there as well. But the out facing thing could be that shirt picture.
Yeah. I've been searching forever for a full color, like a thermal printer, which it doesn't exist, I don't think. But I'm like, because then there's no ink; it just goes and goes and goes.
Right.
But yeah, it's good to know that stuff, Angel. And I gotta say, like, I mean, I guess it depends, but like, do you ever ask for something like that? Like before a tour starts, you ever think to ask? Oh, never mind.
Usually I beg and I plead.
They go, yeah, sure, buddy. Sure, you're sitting there just doing nothing. It's an arena tour. You don't have any work to do.
I remember doing a tour for Global, and they send their stuff. It gets printed in the shop and it gets shipped out in whatever Gildan box or whatever the shirt came in, and whatever shirt or whatever it was came in like paper thin boxes. That I remember sending a picture to the office guy of like a delivery I got the day before, and it just been in the truck for one night, and the bottom 4 boxes have pancaked, and it was just all leaning to one side. I was like, it didn't make it one trip overnight. Can you please? And I said, I was like, can you please ask them to put the stuff in better boxes? And his response was, I'm not paying to print nice boxes that just get thrown away. And I was like, I didn't say anything about printing. I just want the boxes to be different. They could be completely blank. All right.
Right. Like they could go to Uline and order double wall cardboard boxes and just throw all your stuff in there. Like that's not
exactly.
The issue.
Well, not from Uline because they're Republican scum. But
you should start, Angel. You should start like moving companies that come to your house that like sell you the supplies, and the guys get like commission. You should just have your own supply of like double wall boxes. You're like, listen, this box collapsed. There's nothing here. What do you want me to do? I got my boxes. They're $2 a pop. Let's go.
But I mean, that's a business thing for Angel too, of being like, it's almost like our Amazon thing for Shirt Show or whatever, where it's like, this is the box company I recommend if you want to do tour merch. This is the labels that I would like, have a template basically as a company to where it's like, send that out to everyone. So it is more uniform or whatever of like, we like these boxes. We like these labels. We like this, whatever. Does that kind of stuff exist between management and the merch company, or something you've ever dealt with where
Not
there's
really.
requests for those things?
Like I said, luckily it feels like most merch companies have kind of gotten into the habit of making their own boxes. I don't know if it's because they want to advertise and promote their
usually
company. Yeah, but they luckily have made those promotional boxes be very sturdy and high quality. So it's been a minute since I've been on the tour and been like, oh my God, you got to do something about this.
Well, you're on a higher level too. They're not using some random shit printer for the most part.
Right.
For these higher,
they're probably sending them a semi full of bravado boxes to use. So.
Right. Is there anything merch wise that is like a big fail for tours and stuff nowadays? Or is there stuff that you're like, oh, this is a fad and I can't wait till it's gone?
I mean, if anything, I would say in the past, I mean, it's probably been a longer now, but I just keep thinking about it. I feel like the focus on like branding it's like something that adds work to my day that makes no more money for anybody. You know what I mean? Like
how so? Branding,
like pop-up banners, official merchandise,
so like signage and like stuff like that.
Tablecloth, especially when if you're doing arenas. where we're talking about, multiple merch stands, and you're talking, and if you have a crowd that is, horny to buy merch, and they're not going to have a problem finding the merch area. They don't need these banners everywhere. They don't need tablecloths that nobody sees once people are standing in front of them. I feel like that's just wasteful. That's costing somebody money, the merch company, the artist, whoever ultimately pays for it, and it doesn't make any more money for anyone. I don't believe, but it does create more work for me.
Have you ever dealt with big errors in merch, like something wasn't printed right and they all washed out? Or there was that whole Taylor Swift thing or whatever last year where it was like all of her merch was falling apart, or all washed out. Or
I had a European tour years ago where the two days before the tour, and I flew to Europe, and we were going to load the truck at the print company or at the printer. And the printing had the artist's face on it, and it looked like they missed a color or something because he looked like a zombie, like so pale, but also a little blue, and I was like, and I sent a picture of the shirt to somebody at the merch company, who then sent it to a manager, and they're like, that is not correct. And it was something like 150 boxes of that shirt that had been printed.
Dude, Dylan, it's always the face. It's always their faces. It's always.
That's what was rough for the John Mulaney.
We had to do so many samples because it had to all be. We didn't want to mess around with skin tones and just
skin tones are the worst. Yeah. That's the thing that we thought made us look bad with the John Mulaney stuff, is that his merch was a photo from a yearbook of him or something from when he was a kid, and it was a super yellowed out photo. It was meant to look that way, but he just looked super jaundiced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it looked like we printed just way more yellow than it needed to be, but that was the photo. That's what it was supposed to look like. And it was every time we tried to play with it or lighten it up or have more of a skin tone or something in there, but it just didn't look right because there was just so much yellow. And it was
I've had God, it's got to be probably 10 tours where tour dates are wrong, or
graphic designer typos,
or a city, typically Cincinnati, is spelled wrong. All the.
What do you do in that case? Do you just reject it, or do you just sell it? Fuck it.
Dude, he probably adds it. He probably adds it to an album on his phone that he has 400 of them on, and he's going to create a coffee table book in 10 years, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, no, something like that. Unless something like that, I typically, if I saw that on a tour, I probably wouldn't even bring it to anybody's attention for fear that they might say, pull all these shirts. But for the most part, unless it's something that is really major that's going to affect sales, or it just looks terrible, it's whatever, if something is spelled wrong or a date is missing, I might, at some point mention and be like, hey, by the way, this might need to be corrected. But yeah, that's not a big deal. But something like you said, skin tones, things like that, where the artist's face just looks terrible on a shirt. We can't sell these.
Yeah.
Angel, do you remember? I don't know. I guess it's one of those things that comes further upstream than you were. But when we did the Oprah thing, and we had these pin sets, the enamel pin sets that we made, and we got them in, and one of them was her face, right? Which I know as somebody who has straight up pin collection here, it's not supposed to look right. It's a cool, fun thing, right? But I look at it through different eyes. I don't look at it through my mom's eyes, who's I want this joy of missing out Jomo bottle and inspirational merch. And I was can we do Oprah's My Homegirl or whatever those memes were? And they were absolutely not. No. We did this pin set, and then we show them, they approved it, and they're like, oh my God, her face looks like whack. It was melted, because it's an enamel pin. The detail's not there.
It's stylized.
And we ended up having to replace it with a totally different pin. It's sent to China, because of course it's all done in China. China then takes the pin out, puts a new pin in, and sent it back. And that was a whole ordeal. And then it was delayed. It got sent to Tallahassee, and we sent Robert from Orlando in a rental car to Tallahassee to fly with 2 duffel bags of enamel pins
with
aka
Oprah's
pieces
face
of,
on it.
no, those were left in China. Pieces of metal with sharp points, as Robert likes to say. And he goes, listen, man, I'm a Middle Eastern guy with 2 giant bags. He goes, a one-way ticket to Fort Lauderdale. He's like, oh my God. But like, that's an example of how crazy things can get, but what everyone's willing to do.
Why would you
know
send
what I mean?
him in that case?
I didn't think about it. It didn't cross my mind.
I mean, I don't think you should have to think about that. I'm just saying that it is kind of a red flag of a one-way ticket with 2 duffel bags of pointy metal objects.
I have a question for Jared, actually, kind of in related to something like that. Is that I always find it, you know, and you know, I'm not in that situation, but like when an artist or whoever, they say they're demanding something or want something that you know is stupid, you know, like, or they want a product line that is ridiculously huge. And, you know, like I've been on tours where, you know, we have a product line that's big and then I'm told a week into the tour, or we're adding 3 more shirts because the drummer wants this. And I'm like, God, have a spine and tell them no. Yeah.
Spoken as a true back of house person.
Exactly. Because I know in your situation.
I understand. And I played, you know, devil's advocate both ways, you know? And that's just what I do. So like, I can really understand it from both sides, but as always, we're always a sales company at heart. So we're always like, unless it's like 1, impossible, or 2, like not our fault at all, then we tend, like with the pins, like we were like, we're not messing this up. Like this, we're not going to, you know, Robert $500-600 on something, this project this big. We're like, whatever, he'll make it work. He'll hang out at the hotel in Fort Lauderdale with us for a first day. He'll hang out, like it'll be fine. But like, yeah, I mean, you try to minimize all that stuff, but the more layers you have in, you have sales rep, you have or account manager, you have sales rep, then you have purchasing department, you have all these layers that are trying to coordinate and fix this stuff, you know? I think our sales reps who are seasoned would be like, this is too many products. But then sometimes newer reps are like, ooh, look at all this stuff I'm selling.
Right.
You know?
And ultimately,
but most bands, we don't have people on the road. Most of the time it's the clients just bringing their own person out. But when it's big, like the stuff that would involve someone like you, yeah, I mean, it's pretty organized. And like I said, those are pretty professional organizations, but I can imagine those scenarios you're talking about where it's like, they're so big that like every member of the band is like a business person now. And they all have like their ideas of what they want to implement, you know?
And you guys ultimately are servicing your client. So you don't necessarily you're not necessarily wanting to be like, yeah, we don't want to make this because we think your idea is dumb. Yeah.
Well, I don't care if there's a bunch more products in the line because Angel doesn't have anything to do. It's an arena tour. He's not vending.
Yeah, I'm not vending. I got nothing to do.
So speaking of which, I wrote this down. I don't mean to derail it, Dylan, but like,
no, go ahead.
I think it's cool for people to know, Angel, like you're not like hiring local vendors, like, or local sellers. Like the venues you're working at, like they take a massive, what I would consider should be illegal chunk of revenue from these bands.
I would
so
disagree.
Like these arena tours, they try to take 30% if they can get away with it. They'll take it, right?
Well, 30% is very much on the high end and kind of rare. Like that's Madison Square Garden. You know,
so what's typical? 15, 20?
20% is typical, I would say, for an arena. It's definitely, you know, this conversation happens a lot among road people. I see it on the internet a lot, and I always think it's funny. But, you know, it's negotiable. Like I've done arena tours where we're paying.
The agents, the booking agents negotiate it in.
100%. Yeah. Like I've done arena tours where, you know, we're doing $500,000 a night and we're paying 10%, you know? But typically it's, you know, 15 to 20. What I always think is funny is like the road guy who's on a club tour or theater tour is out there vending and they're taking offense at the venue taking 20%. And I'm like,
aren't they taking tips in a cashless world now? They're taking tips off point of sale too.
Yes.
And that's huge money too. That's a percent of gross they're getting paid.
Yeah. But
that was actually the first time I ever saw that was at the Deftones show. There was a tip.
I think it's see, for me, like in an arena getting paid 20%, whatever, it's justified because you're getting 5, 6, 10 stands. You're getting a crew of vendors, whether it's 20 to 50. Sometimes I advance. So these people need to these people need to get paid and need to earn money. So you're getting something for that money. I definitely take umbrage with a club where I'm setting up a table and vending, and literally the venue does nothing other than give me what is typically a shitty space, and you're taking 20%.
Dim lit corner.
Yeah,
no, it's like, hey, Angel, here we have this like bent metal like festival light you can clip up or whatever to your grid wall that they stole from me because someone left it behind or whatever 2 years ago.
Dude, like here in New York City, like AG buildings, Terminal 5, where 25% artist sells. That to me, that's criminal. Like that is ridiculous.
Years ago, Alex was he was on a panel for Florida Music Festival around here, and I remember there was somebody from like Live Nation or some older guy, and Alex was making all these digs about venues taking cuts, and the guy got so red. I've never seen someone's skin get so red. Alex was like, I mean, charge more for your ticket, do whatever you got to do, but like you have nothing to do with merch. Why? I'm not getting a piece of the bar tab. What is the problem here?
Correct.
You know?
Correct. Like
it was like a whole thing.
Yeah, like I think, which also, you know, to give Live Nation some credit, in the last 2 years, they stopped taking merch cuts at their smaller venues. They're like 2,000.
That was that was like that Willie Nelson program or whatever, or is that something different?
Which I thought, it was that, but I thought it was going to be something that they were going to, do for a few months to get some good PR and then quietly roll it back, but they haven't. And, to their credit, it's like if you're in a small venue and you're vending, you're not having to pay a cut. But in an arena, I don't argue that. I'm like, if you're paying 20% to get 50 plus people working for you, then that makes perfect sense to me. And also it's negotiable.
Have you guys noticed like a certain price point for merch that is like optimal? Because like you said, like some places will be like, oh, it's a $20 shirt. Some places will be like, it's a $50 shirt. Some places will
That's
be
a good
like,
question
whatever.
for you, Angel. Like, do you see people like walk, like, is there like a thing where you're like,
well, I'm saying there's got to
really
be a
don't
sweet
like
spot.
paying that price.
Yeah.
I feel like now in 2025, $40, which, sounds crazy to me to say a $40 t-shirt is kind of like the norm. And like, cause like I said, I'm seeing $50. I worked a show just last night, not a show, a listening party where they wanted.
Let's start Googling. Let's figure it out, man.
No, they wanted to charge $50 for their shirt at a listening party in a 500 cap venue. And
what was it printed on?
It was printed. It was printed on a Gildan. Wasn't a high quality shirt. It was not a Comfort Colors. It was like an okay shirt. It was the ones with the black and silver tag.
They all have black and silver tags now.
Do they? Okay. Well, it was a white shirt with, I want to say 3 color printing on it. But anyway, they wanted to charge $50, and I said to the manager, I was like, "Are you married to that price? That feels kind of high for a listening party type thing." And then he asked somebody else who said $50. That's insane. And we ended up doing 40. And at the end, we actually did very well, like way better than I would think for a listening party. And at the end of the night, he asked me, he's like, "Do you think we would have had an issue at 50?" And I said, "I definitely had a few people grumble at 40. So at 50, but anyway, I digress." Yeah. I think $40 is kind of like I see $40 in clubs, which is wild. Like it used to be, if you saw 35 in a club, you were like, "Wow, that's an arena price." Now it's like 40, and arena prices are 45 and 50.
What's the most expensive item you've ever sold? However limited it may have been.
Drake had a $220 hoodie. which we
Sweet.
could.
I always
could
see those
not
like
make fast
Letterman
enough.
jackets or like, you know, stuff like that are just like really expensive. Where it's
I
like,
think
this is a custom cut and sew kind of thing.
I want to say maybe in 2019, Shawn Mendes. I feel like we had a very like small run like denim jacket that was like, I want to say it might have been $300, and it bombed. Like it was something just like we would sell like one piece a night. Which,
Well, that was my next question is like, what do you do on a big tour like that when you have, say you have 20 designs, or you're saying they have too much? What do you do with all the shit that is not selling well? Like you might have 3 shirts that sell really, really well, but you've got 10 other ones that you're just like, none of these are selling. We're going to end up with so much backstock of this shit.
yeah. Well, I'll give you an example. I did Muse in 2022, I think, and they had legit 20 cloth wearables, which was insane. And there were probably 5 or 6 that did under 2 dozen pieces a night. And in those cases, I mean, in most venues, they don't have, well, you know, including when you have an opener or 2 that have a couple designs each. There's typically, in most venues, you might have 2 stands where they can fit that much stuff, you know? In which case it's like, okay, well then the top 10 selling shirts go everywhere. These other items that sell a handful, put this one in one stand, put that one in one stand. Yeah. And it's just like, that's what you do. Cause it's like, you know, once they're out there, you know, if they're going to sell, even if something,
because you're limited by like venue infrastructure too. Like,
yes, absolutely.
Like whatever
absolutely.
displays they have. Like even when we did Oprah, they had this expo company build this insane merch store that looked like, well, not merch store, but like a whole backdrop that went behind the tables that looked like proper like Formica countertop things with like little beautiful little walls and shelves and stuff with little things. But that's an extreme example.
Yeah, and
I'd say that more aligns with what people do, like pop-ups and stuff, like the way people do like immersive pop-ups and stuff now, you know, but like, yeah, like, but that's unique. Normally it's like, hey, here's the merch thing. They put the stuff on hangers, they hang it up, and you're just lucky that the line's not 2 hours long, hopefully. Right.
Yeah. It's complete. And, you know, it's a different thing in every building. You know, some buildings have massive stands. Some buildings have a ton of small stands. And it's just like, you kind of gotta, you know, you just make it happen every day. But yeah, in the case of having too many items and you have a handful of things that just don't sell, it's basically a matter of like, okay, we'll put it one place. Cause like this shirt's going to sell 10 pieces. We'll put it in one stand because the other stands have to have all the stuff that does sell.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the most creative like merch ideas that you've seen on tour?
Honestly, I feel like I haven't seen much that is out of the ordinary of, you know, t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, things like that. Yeah, I honestly don't think I've seen anything that I would say is either interestingly creative or so off the wall.
Sometimes like one of my most favorite things that I see and I will buy almost every time when I go to a show is a screen printed poster.
Oh yeah.
Like if they have like shirts or whatever, and then they have limited edition, like 1 of 50 for that event, like specifically for that one. Like Primus was doing it for a whole tour where it was like every venue had a like totally custom design.
Yeah.
I always thought that was fucking awesome.
Sleep Token did that and we'll be doing that.
Yeah. Black Keys always did that. We would always, that's the kind of crowd. They were like a poster collector crowd. So we would have a different, I mean, Blink 182 last year, I did them. We had a different poster for every night. Although those weren't, I feel like those weren't screen prints. They were just, it was a different design, but they weren't like Black Keys. It was always like 200 pieces or something of a screen printed poster for each city.
What was cool, I think Primus, I think what they were doing is they had a different artist for each city, and usually
Yes.
the artist was from that city, and they also had a printer in that city usually make it.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times that printer had some content or video or something of them creating the design. It was this whole thing. I just fucking love that shit. I thought it was so cool to just have this whole other thing that is completely custom for that show.
Yeah, on Black Keys, typically the artist, who oftentimes was the printer, would be contacting me on like the morning of the show to drop them off.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
all of that. Jared, do you have any other pressing questions for him? I was going to get into kind of the wrap up stuff.
No.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry. Hold on.
I mean, I feel like there's a million other questions that we could get into, but I feel
there's
like
a million I could talk.
We went into a lot of it, and I think it's a good spot to stop where we kind of got the gist of like what life is like for you in that scenario. I mean, is there anything, Angel, that you want to add that we didn't touch on that is kind of a big part of your life that you wish people knew more about, or things that you wish would change, or that you would want to see happen?
I mean, not really beyond what we already talked about in that, I wish a road person's opinion was taken more when it comes to product lines, things like that. Like I said, it's like, I feel like 90% of this stuff, is merch company, management, artists, decisions get made. And I just, I'm kind of given it and facilitate it once I'm out on the road. So yeah, I feel like that's pretty much the only thing I feel like I wish was a little different.
And I think that kind of hits home, Jared, too, like with us as print shops. And we talk about it on the show every so often, where it's kind of like, I don't want to walk into the dark room where I'm not in there ever. I'm in my office or I'm doing this other thing and tell them how to do their job, or like, oh, let's move this over here. Let's do this over here or whatever. And then as soon as I leave, that guy's like, what the fuck did you just do to my spot? Like, I got to move this back. Like, you're not in here. Why are you dictating how I should do this? Like, this is my
if that's
space.
the case, Dylan, go home. Just go.
Well,
Just
no,
ride
I'm
off
saying
into-
to
No,
a
I get what you're
degree,
saying.
like
I
you
understand.
need to
understand.
hear their feedback. So like what I do in almost every position at the shop is like, tell me how I can make your life better. Tell me how I can make the shop better. Like if you're like, well, it'd be really nice if there was a stainless table here, or this ink was here, or we stopped doing this or this thing, or stop selling fucking sponge fleece or something, then I would be like, all right, well, this is going to make the whole operation better.
I totally agree. And I think in this particular case, right, Angel's essentially like a hired gun, right? For these.
Right, but he has so much experience of what works.
Don't get me
doesn't
wrong, 100%. But I'm saying I guarantee you, Angel has a lot of impact on the accounts that he's with for a long time, right? So, to a certain extent, anyways.
Let's talk
obviously.
for him.
But
He's right here.
Yeah. Yeah, just mute the guy. But like, I'm just saying, like in general, like I feel like it's different when it's like it's the primary core business as opposed to like, because management agents, like, not to speak for them, but it's like this tour, we're doing this tour and then we're moving to the next thing. It's the next thing. With you, it's like every day, this is the process, procedure, this and that. It's almost not given the respect that I think it needs. And
well,
like
that's
with
what we're here
everybody else,
for. We're fighting for the fact that it needs to be respected.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, I'm out there to make you and myself money. And my ultimate goal is to try to make as much money for everyone involved as possible. And a lot of times I do feel like, people can shoot themselves in the foot when you hire me, you pay me for my expertise, my experience, and my knowledge, but yet you don't really want that information from me. You know?
Right.
Like it's kind of taken for granted, and it's like, okay, well, you can make this much money or you can make that much money. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm kind of like, whatever.
Well, that's what I was trying to say in the beginning is like, it just seems like there should be more procedures and data and stuff because you're already taking the data anyway. And it could be like, all right, well, hey guys, on the next tour, this could be better. And I feel like it's it's not a that's what it's not a I was gonna say that's what she said. It's not a he said she said thing. It's real numbers. You're like, hey, this is the actual fucking data. Like this is what's what. We could
How many months a
change
year
this.
are you on the road? Like
I was up until this year. Last few years, 9 to 10. And that's
a lot of experience. That's a lot of hands and faces you're seeing.
Yes.
Yeah.
This year I purposely decided to scale back some as I'm getting older and wanting to not be on the road 9 to 10 months out of the year. And so I've been lucky, especially this year, that I've, gotten some work that is like almost weekend warrior type things. So it's like I'm out just like a couple weekends a month, and then I've got a couple more significant chunks of tour, but nothing like, oh, you're going to be out on this run for 7 months, So yeah.
Those are like world tours or whatever.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I've done like Shawn Mendes tours where, we go out and it's like, there's 137 dates over the next 8 months, and it's like, you're going to be, gone home for a week and gone to Asia or South America or Australia. I kind of decided I maybe don't want to do that so much anymore. So
is there anywhere you haven't toured that you want to tour, like around the world?
I feel like my only country that I was interested in visiting, mostly because I heard how shitty it is, was Russia. But I feel like that's not going to happen anymore.
Probably not a good idea right now.
No, probably not for a long while. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been lucky because there's a lot of road people that have been touring for a long time, and there was always like a weird thing with merch people where a lot of artists would have a merch person that works for them all the time, like in the US, and then they go like overseas, and for whatever reason they bring their entire crew but always would hire like a European merch person, which I was always like, the guy that deals with your money that you trust, he is replaceable by some whoever, but your guitar tech and your tour manager, you can't possibly use a European guy for that. So I always found that was weird, but I've been very lucky. I've had a lot of bands, a lot of artists who've taken me everywhere. So I mean, I've been to Europe, I've been to Japan, I've been to Australia, I've been to South America, I've been to Asia. So I kind of feel like I've done it all, seen it all, been to all 50 states. So it's
That's awesome.
So yeah, so there's really I want to knock off my last continent, which is Africa. But then that's it. I'm good, and I don't need to go to Africa to do merch. I'll just go on my own at some point, maybe.
Yeah, you can go without merch being involved.
Exactly. I went to Antarctica. I wish merch was involved, but I went to Antarctica.
Yeah, that would be sweet. That's on my list. All right, I got three more questions for you that are more personal. Okay. Favorite shirt or merch item from a band or whatever that out of your entire career? What was your favorite one that you've had or owned?
God, favorite shirt, man. I mean, I would say just a couple classic that probably don't mean anything to most people, but like I had a early 90s like Killing Time, just New York hardcore shirt that I remember walking into a store on St. Mark's who sold all the punk rock and hardcore t-shirts, and it was just like this heather gray shirt with this design of like their album cover, but it was like 3-dimensional, and I was just like, I remember at the time thinking it was like the sickest shit I've ever seen.
Hell yeah.
And
it wasn't 36 color front and a 10 color back and a
no, I mean it had
sleeve.
multiple colors on it, and God, I wish I knew how much I paid for it. It was probably like $15 or something back then, but it was like I wore that shirt for a good 15 years and was always That's awesome. This is the best fucking shirt ever.
What's your favorite venue / city?
New York City is my favorite city. It's the greatest city in the world.
Is that biased because you live there?
Yes. as somebody who's been all over the world, and I've been to a lot of cities that I love, and places that are
New
amazing.
York still holds up.
New York to me is still like I went on vacation to Tokyo earlier this year, or to Japan. Went to a bunch of places in Japan, but I've been there on tour before. And Japan was amazing. Tokyo is incredible. Osaka is amazing. And, I've been, Paris is incredible. But like, to me, it's like, I'm always in these cities. I'm like, this city's awesome. New York is still the best. Venue wise, I would say a couple of my favorites, like the Toyota Center in Houston. As much as I hate Texas, that venue is great. Their crew, shout out to Jim Harrison and Pamela Lott who run that venue. They're literally two of my favorite people. They do an amazing job. Like anytime I'm going there or doing a gig that involves them, it's like, it's no matter what it is, it's like, this is going to be cake just because they're really good.
What about smaller club venue?
Smaller club venues, there's a lot of like nice ones. A recent one, the Sylvie in Madison, Wisconsin, which is like a new venue, opened maybe 3-4 years ago. It's like a lot of it has to do with how nice their merch areas are. Like if you build a brand new venue and you actually take the time to think of what a merch area should look like and needs, it's like you get massive props because like Live Nation doesn't fucking do that when they build an arena. The Sylvie in Madison, Wiltern in LA, which is like a theater, but great merch area. Usually I prefer the question.
That's more what you're looking for is, are they putting you in that dimly lit?
He's got a type, man.
You sure you don't want to ask me which venues are the worst in the country? Because I'd be glad to tell you about
that. I bet you that's his next question.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, let's follow up with that.
Okay, let's see. So when it comes to arenas, the All-State Arena in Rosemont, Illinois, not quite Chicago, most garbage building you can go to. like it's an old, just crappy building. The crew, the people who run it are horrible. Like unreal.
Not to paint with a broad brush.
No, but just worst vendors.
Everyone in the building is a fucking garbage person.
Dude, worst vendors, worst displays. Just you're going there, you're gonna have a bad time.
Don't hold back or anything.
Yeah, no.
All right, one more horrible one.
I was actually gonna say, it used to be the TD Garden in Boston. Used to be the worst building in the country, but they kind of changed things up in the last couple of years. New people running it, new deals with their union, and when I was there with Drake, they crushed it. They were great, awesome. So they are off the list. So props to them. I just want All-State Arena is like far and above. The Enterprise Center in St. Louis, which I'm actually going to sometime soon, is pretty terrible.
Careful.
All right, last question. Top 4 favorite movies of all time.
Oh, this is a good one. I'm a movie guy. Number 1, The Exorcist. Number 2, combination of Alien and Aliens, because they're both equally awesome.
Are you watching the new show?
I downloaded it earlier today, so I will probably watch it tonight, and I'm excited.
I'm going to watch it tonight.
Yeah, the reviews are really good. So, Donnie Darko, 3rd, and I would say 4th, Empire Strikes Back.
They're all kind of similar. The funny thing, I talk about this question, this is one of my favorite questions to ask in the whole show because I love movies too, but it really tells a lot about a person. And what I find is interesting when someone's like, my number 1 movie is, T1, like a Terminator movie, but then my second favorite movie is like Aladdin. You're like, whoa, what the fuck is like, this person has different personalities. But you were kind of in the same flow the whole time, so yeah, you have a preference.
Dude loves aliens, man.
Yeah, that's true.
I love aliens and demonic possession.
Cool.
Which a lot of aliens are possessing people. So there
Yes,
you go.
I do.
It's
I
kind
do
of in the
have
same
a.
vein.
I do have a soft spot in my heart for Babe, though.
I just that's crazy that you said Babe, because I just brought up Babe today at work. What did they say? I said, that'll do, pig.
There you go.
Yeah.
I say that
And
all
I
the time.
don't think Leanna got it when I said it either. So I think she thought I was saying she did a good job and I called her a pig.
Lawsuit inbound.
Or
She
you were
gave me
referring.
something and I was like, that'll do, pig, or whatever, and then walked away. So now I'm thinking about it. If she didn't know Babe, she probably thinks I
Time
said
for a
something
movie
horrible
night.
to her. Well, thank you so much, Angel, for taking the time and doing this with us. I know this was probably a little different for you as far as talking to screen printers about this stuff, but it means a lot to us, and it opens. I want to talk to more people that are outside the industry that also have to do with what we do to make it a little bit more understanding of what it takes and why things happen the way they happen. So I appreciate it.
Cool. I appreciate you having me. Thanks for having me.
And Jared, I love you. Fuck
Yeah.
you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks for thinking of me when you think of
Dude,
level
Angel, I'm
merch guys.
glad. Yeah, I'm glad you can make it happen, man. And I just like people being able to see some of the stuff that I know nobody gets to see. You know.
Mm-hmm. And we need to fight now. We need people like Angel to be heard by the management of like, hey, this is fucking what we need to do. This is what we need to change.
Yeah, get those designs done a month before the tour, for fuck's sake. Like,
Well, I'm pretty sure we all want that, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure none of us are getting that. But I do want it. It's on the list.
I did get my Shawn Mendes product line for the tour starts this end of September, and I was very pleasantly surprised to see that a month and a half out.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
gotta be some kind of record.
Yeah,
that's
I was
pretty good.
I was like, this is surprising that this is done. Like, awesome. So
All right, boys. We'll see you later.
cool. Thank you.
All right, man. Bye.
Bing bong.